Yeah, that's exactly what I looked like last night when I saw the show Tidying Up with Marie Kondo for the first time on Netflix. As a professional organizer of 12 years, of course I was interested when they said that Netflix was going to have a show by one of the most famous organizers in the industry. So of course I had to watch it. I finally got around to it, and let me just say, I took some notes. So I'm going to share with you today all of the thoughts of a professional organizer on the show about organizing with Marie. I hope that you like this. Tune in because I'm going step by step through all of what I thought about this new show and a bit about Marie. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate Marie Kondo. I actually think that she's adorable. But I didn't like her at first. When I got her book, I don't even know how long ago that was, I was not a Marie fan. I mean, it was so boring. It took me like 2 weeks to get through the book just because it was really boring, and it took everything to this OCD level of organizing, which that's not how I roll, okay? I work with people who are totally overwhelmed or frustrated or just desperately want a big change. These types of people can rarely go from that to sushi rolling their socks and thanking every item they own. That's just too much to maintain. It might work to get it all cleaned up once, and yes, it will take a bit longer, but it's not going to keep you there. So I was not a Marie fan, although all of her concepts that she uses are the basic organizing concepts. So I agree with most of her reasonings, just not her methods. Needless to say, that book hit the donate pile almost instantly for me. It was just not my style. So I was fascinated when the show came out. So fascinated actually that I took notes. So these are my thoughts as an organizer on the show by the organizer, Marie Kondo. Now, first off, the way that she thanks the house and thanks the clothes and thanks everything. But when you think about it, it actually is the same thing that I teach people all the time. It's just taking it to that Marie Kondo level, which is like up here. You can't even see how high my arm is. It's up here. And I think the main level needs to be about here. But gratitude really does help you declutter. If you're thankful for the things that you have and for the experiences that you have, then you don't feel like you need more. You feel like you have enough, which means that you buy less and you keep less. So, concept, awesome. Thanking some things before you let them go? Sure, a few of them. Thanking every single thing before you let it go and handling it so carefully when you've got 400 shoes to go through? No. So, we met halfway on that one. Now, as I mentioned, one of the things about Marie's book that I hated was it was so sterile and so boring. There was no real personality or anything. And I'm kind of the type of person who oozes personality and loves to really get into who somebody is. That's one of the things I loved about the show, because I did not like Marie at all before the show. But they did a great job of showing how cute and adorable she is. I mean, like, how can you not smile? She's absolutely cute. And the tiniest thing, like you can put her in your pocket. So if you need a pocket organizer, she's perfect. But I loved that. She's adorable. Now, one of the things that made me laugh during the show was when she would come up with these glazed over looks on her face with a like frozen smile as she's pointing at clutter. You know that she's not thinking happy thoughts. She's thinking, what the? She's looking at your clutter. So, this clutter here? And what is this? That was so funny to watch. It's not nice in the least. And sometimes it comes off a little judgmental because she just plasters on the smile and the glazed over look. Like, how dare you still have dishes in your sink? Yeah, okay, there's kids. There are dishes in the sink. But it was also, it made me laugh, kind of snort laugh out loud a few times. Another thing that I think is super weird that in the book and on the show I don't buy into is the 5 categories. Okay, so we've got some good categories here. She starts off right. We got clothes. Yep. Books. Really? Whole category just books when you've only got 5? But yeah, books category. Documents, sentimental items, and then kimono. everything else. Does anybody else see anything wrong with that? Like little category of 5 billion things? I don't really buy into that one because you need more categories. I mean, kitchen alone is its own category. Kids, they're their own category. So 5 categories, nope. I'm calling shenanigans on that one. Not buying it. And then there's her favorite phrase that she's known for is, does it spark joy? Okay, yes. That's a great phrase. Does it spark joy is important. I'm sorry, but the window washing fluid for my car does not spark any joy for me. 0 sparks. But I need it because in Florida where I live, it's love bug season and those little buggers need to be washed off. So does it spark joy? Awesome. Also, is it essential? And while we're on the subject, the whole sparking joy thing, yes, it's a great thing if you're holding on to too many negative items and trying to purge. But if you only think about does it spark joy, that can backfire on you, like big time. Because when you're out shopping, I'm sure that you see 5 million cute little things that spark joy in the moment. That does not mean that you need to buy them and bring them into your home. So think about if it sparks true joy, as in that really deep, lasting, lifetime type of a joy, not is it just really a cute fancy and I need to own it if it sparks even a little bit of joy. So don't go down that rabbit hole. Does it spark joy? Use it as it's intended. That's all I'm saying. Now, in the first episode, one of the things that super got me was saving the sentimental stuff for last when she said your sensitivity to joy has been sufficiently heightened. Huh? Yeah. No. Do not do your sentimental stuff when your sensitivity to joy has been significantly or sufficiently heightened. That's when you are tired and not making good decisions anymore. The worst time to do your sentimental stuff. So yes, do it last. Do not do it right after a long day of organizing though. Do it on a whole different day in a whole different session because that is completely different stuff. I mean, it's a different way of thinking altogether. Deciding on shoes or on which pens you're going to keep in your office is not the same as deciding which baby clothes from your kids you're going to save for the long run. So, I'm not buying into that one. Do your sentimental stuff last. Do it on a separate session, not when you are absolutely tired and your brain is not making good decisions, because we get worn out and we stop making good choices. Now, do not get me started on that Tupperware drawer that she did in that first episode. Oh no. The whole stacking your Tupperware on the side, that's great if it can nest inside of each other, but I see no reason to have each individual piece of Tupperware with its lid on its side in a drawer. You can fit almost nothing in that drawer then. What I say about Tupperware or any of the storage things, I'm using Tupperware as an example, buy only one brand so they all stack inside of each other. Then you can store the whole stack on the side if you want. I usually store it upside down so you can just pull one out, but you can store the lids right next to it. You can use one of those library bookends to hold the lids on one side against the side of the drawer or the cabinet. Store the stack next to it. But if you only buy one brand, then they will all nest in each other very nicely, and you will not be holding a whole drawer full of Tupperware and only getting 10 pieces in there. So, sorry, Marie. I don't agree with you on that one. Then there's the rectangle fold. Yeah. Okay, I am all for folding your t-shirts into a little tiny square and lining them up so you can see what they are. I am not going to fold them so that there's no pattern on the outside like she did. She had them folded where you could not see the design. I would have no idea what shirt that is, for one. And I'm not going to spend 5 minutes making sure that I'm folding it just right and just the right pocket size. No, not happening. So fold your t-shirts really nicely into a little rectangle. Yes, if they're the different sizes, that's okay. Make sure that the design is on the outside so you can see what they are and put them in the drawer. And there's no measuring or asking how far to fold it required. Just get it done. That's the thing, just get it done. Who cares if it's perfect? In the first episode, did you see the part where she brought in the boxes? She brought like 8 boxes for all of the kimono. Like, that's it? No, I do not think that 8 boxes is going to cover all of the little stuff in the house. I just had to laugh about that one. But yes, use little boxes for stuff in drawers and in bins that you can separate things out. That's a plus. But bringing in 8 boxes, and also, how do you know before you've even purged and sorted what size boxes you need? I always say buy the containers last after you've done your purge and you can see what size boxes you need for what areas. So purge first, sort and categorize, and then buy the boxes. And trust me, you will need more than 8. Now, I thought it was funny that this couple's complaint was that they don't have enough time. And then Marie's solutions all took so much more time to do. So yes, by getting rid of a lot of stuff in the house and getting rid of the clutter, they will have more time. It's a no-brainer. It's always that way. You get rid of stuff, you have more time because you're not maintaining the stuff and you can find what you need. But all of these OCD methods of folding shirts and how you would roll socks and do all these things in a nitpicky way, that's going to take too much time. Just get it done. Now, her processes were overwhelming. She had the right organizing concepts and the right processes in general in order to do it. We agree on a lot of the how to a degree. But as far as the processes go, the way she did it was overwhelming. I can't imagine being overwhelmed with clutter and having to pull all of the clothes from every single room in the entire house into one space and then be told, okay, purge it. Really? I would cry. I'd be in fetal position in a pile of tears and I would just give up on life. So no, I don't agree with the whole pull everything from the whole house into one space when it's something as large as clothes that also already have their own major categories. Now, I do agree with pulling all clothes for one person into one area or all of the clothes of one type, like all of your shirts into one area and then going through them. Yes, you can't just leave them where they are. You'll forget what you have in the other room. You won't be able to see them very well. So pull them all into one area, but by groups, not the entire home's worth of clothing, because that will make anybody suicidal, even me. I am not into her whole idea of multiple 8+ hour days of organizing. So the way our brains work is after a certain point in time, we stop making good decisions. We get tired because our brain is constantly working in ways that it's not used to. These decisions do not come natural to us, because otherwise we would be nice and organized because we would have made these decisions long ago. This is a new thought process for most people as they're getting organized. So not only are you doing new thoughts and working on doing all of these new processes, but you're doing them nonstop for hours on end. So after a while, your brain starts to feel loss. You realize how much you've given up, and you do one of two things. Either you stop caring and you just start letting go of everything without really thinking, and you get rid of too much stuff before you're really ready, and then you regret it later. Or what happens more often is you stop letting go of things that you normally would have. So I say about 3.5 to 4 hours. Whenever I've worked one-on-one with clients, I cap it at 4 hours, except for special clients. 4 hours is usually the max before bad decision-making occurs. And then you'll start to keep things just because your brain has told you that you've lost too much, because you let go of too much. But if you get yourself a break, then you can make those decisions with a fresh mind later in the day or the next day. So the 8 hours, multiple days in a row, yes, that might be one way to get through an entire house in a month, which they did 28 days, I believe it was, in that first episode. Holy cow. But you don't need to do that. That will just lead you to not only make bad decisions, but also you'll probably fall off the wagon several times before you get really good at maintaining, so there will be more times that you have to organize. The last thing you want is to remember it as a negative experience and remember how much work it was. If you work in the 4-hour chunks, then it's not as exhausting and you aren't going to have negative memories of it and be afraid of ever doing it again. Because after 8 hours of an organizing session, of my stuff when I'm not used to thinking that way, I would never want to do it again, and I would just stay cluttered if I fell off the wagon. I'd give up altogether. So, no. Sorry, Marie. No. Just no. One thing that she did say that I totally agree with, though, is that it gets messier before it gets better. And this is almost always the case. I have to reassure my organizing clients and the people that I do teach in my courses that, yes, I'm going to make a bigger mess than when I found it, but it will end neater than it was. It's going to end up organized, but before that, you have to create chaos before you can make calm. So good job, Marie. You were spot on with that one. Another thing that I loved is she talked about making sure that you can see through the boxes and that inside the boxes it's organized too. So you open up the box, make sure that you put things in it so you can see it and find what you need easily as well. Because some of those big containers are big and you're never going to find what you need and you're going to think that you don't own it. So organize inside the boxes, use clear containers. Yes, Marie, I agree with you on that one too. And one of my favorite things was at the end when you could hear the couple talking about how it's improved their relationship so much, how they got so much more time, less stress, they fight less, they're just happier overall. Like, that's my favorite part about organizing. Seriously, that's why I do challenge groups and I have my course on organizing with a group, and I do one-on-one organizing in people's homes, because like that right there is the best payment when somebody says that their lives have been changed simply because they let go of clutter and got organized. So that was one of my favorite parts of the show too. I loved seeing how happy the people were at the end and how much more hope they had in life overall, because it's true. Every single client that I've worked with or that has gone through one of my courses, at the end, they always give me a big hug and keep going on and on about how amazing they feel. So good job, Marie. I love that. And again, did I mention how cute she is? Like trying to jump up to reach the closet rail. And I loved when they ask if she gets mad at her kids when they mess up her organizing. And with the sweetest smile in her eyes and on her face, she smiles as she says, yes, she scolds her children. I mean, how would you ever feel bad if Marie Kondo was your mom and she was scolding you and she had this big smile on her face? But I loved in the first episode when she was going through the DVDs that she found in the garage and she found the wedding DVD. The show overall gave a really good overall view of who Marie was, aside from just reading her book, which could be, like I mentioned, a little bit sterile. So I loved those moments where it showed her as a real, like, cute, adorable person. I think that we've only seen one side of her, but yeah, she's super adorable. I also absolutely loved when they asked if there was ever a time when her house was disorganized, and she laughs and she says sometimes she goes to sleep at the end of a long day. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when she goes to sleep at the end of the long day, she's got like 4 dishes in the sink and it's not actually disorganized. I don't know if she's ever been disorganized in her life, but she's adorable, so she can get away with it. I personally love that I come from a past where I was an absolute hot mess. Like, box of kittens after drinking Red Bull brain, trying to manage my life, and massive clutter bug, absolutely disorganized. So I came from that and I had to teach myself all of the ways to get organized. And I think that helps me understand my clients and the people who take my courses. It really helps me to be able to empathize because I've been there. I completely know what it's like to be embarrassed to have somebody over in the house because there's still a thing of macaroni and cheese on the counter from last week. Like, that was totally me. I don't think that she's ever been there. So some of the times when she's got the glossed over smile and she's looking at people's clutter, I don't know that she really gets it as far as what it's truly like. But I think that she pulls it off because, like, she's this big and she smiles all the time and she giggles. So how can you not love her, right? One of the other things that made me laugh was when she giggled when the lady said that her husband thought that this whole cleaning process was sexy. She totally giggled and she said that was a very American way of thinking about it. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I don't know, but I'll take it. Hey, if so, Americans sound fun. So basically, to wrap it all up, yes, I love the show. I think any show that helps people get organized is a good thing. Anything that gives people hope is a good thing. Her method is different, and that's okay. Some people, their personality type and how they learn, it's going to be spot on with her. So we need more than one message in the world about how to get organized. Now, I would like them to visit the couples again in 6 months and see how much they've really maintained. Like, open their drawers, see if everything's sushi rolled or folded in a rectangle. Check out all their kimono. So I'd love to see that 6 months later, because I do feel like her methods are way too OCD to maintain well, but since she does go over 28 days with them, that's a great way to make a mental shift. If you focus on something daily for 28 days and you're practicing those thoughts for that long, then yes, you're probably going to have a much better time maintaining it and making a major life change. Kind of like I've got my course, Mind Your Home. And the whole goal of Mind Your Home is to have a quick daily organizing thought and think about organizing every day in order to make a mental shift. Now, I do not give people 8 hours of work a day in order to do it. I think that if they did get unorganized again in the show, they'd probably not go through that process again. It was probably just too painful. So I like the bite-sized tasks a day, something little to either think about or to do to keep it top of mind and change your thoughts. So that way it's super easy to maintain and it's a permanent life change. But with the show, I'd love to see it 6 months later. I hope that they add on like a revisit at some point where they revisit all of them, or people post on their blogs or something. So if you were on the show and it's 6 months later, message me. I'd like to hear. But overall, if it helps people, that is all that's important, because a lot of organizers, we're just in it because we know how much it can affect your life. And that's why I do what I do every single day, many hours a day, is to help people make a permanent life change and feel happier. And like the people said, just a better relationship, overall happiness, feel happy in their home and at peace, and be able to do the things that they want. That's the goal, right? So thank you, Marie, for this show. I love your adorable sides and your little grins and giggles. If anybody wants to do a show that's a little bit more realistic about how to organize, call me, because I would love to do a show from my side. If you want to find out more about me, check out sparkorganizing.com, or hey, you could just Google Suzanna Kaye and look me up on Facebook, Spark Organizing page, or find me on YouTube right here and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you all in the future, and hopefully I can find out more about these people 6 months later. If I do, I'll tell you. Call me if it's you. Okay, bye. I love you.